Must be real doctor to audition. Must be real firefighter. Must be real law enforcement. Must be real army dude. Must be real dentist. All right. If you've been an actor, you've heard those, you've seen those auditions. If you haven't, welcome to some insight into Hollywood and auditions. So we've all heard those stories one way or another where you hear actors talk about faking it or lying to get a role, which, teach their own. It's a pretty ruthless business. Obviously, there's a slippery slope. If you lie and say you can ride a horse and you get cast on Yellowstone, you're wasting everybody's time because if you can't ride a horse, that's the reason you got the job. And that's especially obviously true into the stunt world. But if this is my this is my I don't want to say confession, but this is kind of my reveal into the bullshit of auditions and casting breakdowns. Breakdowns are essentially kind of like the classifieds of auditions. So like the allure of Hollywood is undeniable. Paychecks, some people it's for the glamour and the fame. It's a dream by many. For me, I enjoy it. I like creating, and I would like to get paid for it to put food on my table. And as a result, it's an extremely competitive industry, and so the pressure to not even succeed is overwhelming, but the pressure to actually get an audition, let alone a job, it's overwhelming, which leads a lot of people to doing extremely drastic things to get ahead. Like I said, some people straight up lie, and it works out in their favor, and it's when they're on the interview couch with Letterman or whatever, people are like, "Oh, that's cool." But at the end of the day, if it went wrong, some people would be in some deep shit. So it's great when it works. But so today I want to explore or kind of reveal kind of a shocking phenomenon that many might not know. And it's actors that have pretended to have a certain skill, which I actually do not fault the actors. I actually fault the casting process because the actors are playing the game for the absurdity of the casting process. Stay tuned for what I'm talking about because it's a fascinating yet disturbing reveal into the darker side of the entertainment industry. I use darker loosely. So the life of an actor is incredibly challenging. There's constant rejection, endless auditions, fierce competition, and it can be a grueling and demoralizing experience. And it's a cutthroat environment, and it's not uncommon for actors to feel like desperate. They're willing to do whatever it takes to stand out, to get noticed, and to land that coveted role. But when casting almost makes them have to play these games, I don't fault the actor anymore. And what's this exception I'm talking about? Because earlier I talked about how if an actor lies that they can ride a horse and they get, cast on Yellowstone or they can't, it's a giant waste of time. This isn't that. So it's not the pressure to fit a certain mold or to possess a certain skill set, which that in traditional auditions can be absolutely crippling. But this this flip side is completely different than that. So let's take a closer look at what I'm talking about. So a lot of times you'll get an audition, and this happens a lot in the commercial side of film and TV, commercializing like advertising and selling tacos or vehicles or whatever. Your agent, your manager, your whoever, you'll get a breakdown and it'll say, must be real cop. As in, you have to be a police officer to audition for this role. So I have a couple of problems with this. One, if you're currently real cop, you have a job. You're not one of the poor, desperate, starving actors that can't eat. So right there off the bat, I'm already pissed. I've seen countless ones that say must be real doctor. I'm pretty sure the six-figure doctor doesn't need this acting role. And I'm pretty sure his medical licensure doesn't make him a better performer. And I've always said this countless times, hire the best actor. And this happens a lot, the hallway is full of clones. I'll go into an audition and it's just a bunch of me, basically. So if they can't distinguish like who's the best actor or whatever, and they're like, well, these guys are all the same. But let's say it's an audition for a guy that has to ride a horse. They're like, oh, all these guys are different, but that one guy can ride a horse. Boom. There's a delineation between all the hallway full of clones. Or, ideally, one of them's a better actor. But at the end of the day, hire the best actor, not the best skill, because you are acting. Oh my God, you're playing pretend. I say this a lot and it's extreme, but I argue it proves the point. There are movies where, unfortunately, whether it's fictional or nonfiction, there are some hideous characters. Let's go to a horror movie, one of my favorites, Last House on the Left. There is a rape scene. They had to cast that actor. Did he have to be a real R wordist? No. He had to be an amazing actor. It's not a prerequisite to be able and to have done that horrible R thing. So when you get to these auditions that say must be a real doctor, must be a real dentist, whatever, I used to honor those until this specific audition. I was at an audition in a hallway full of things, and the audition said must be real firefighter. It didn't say currently active or whatever, so I was like, well, my conscience is clear. I was a firefighter. So I went in my nice little EMS pants and my little polo showing off my muscles, and hallway full of other guys doing the exact same thing. You could tell some of these guys were actually currently working EMS. There was just a vibe. You could tell they were actually working, or like in between shifts, but they were actually actively working as firefighters. There were a handful of people you could tell that just, borrowed their friends' clothes. One of which, and I'm not faulting this guy, to be clear, I envy this guy because he changed my perception on this whole process. A buddy of mine, he's there, and I'm like, hey, let's call him. You never know what Bodie's doing in the background. Let's call him Steve in this example. So I'm like, hey, Steve, what's going on, man? I didn't know you were a firefighter. And he's like, I wasn't. Instantly, I was a little pissed. I didn't show up, but I kept it inside. I was like, oh, I thought you had to be a real firefighter. He's like, no. He's like, well, I mean, he goes, yeah, but I wasn't. I was like, oh, that's cool. We all auditioned, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward. I didn't get the role. He didn't get the role either, actually. But I see the commercial that it was for many, many months later. I'm like, oh, I auditioned for this. Let's see what they're doing. Why you had to be a real firefighter. In the commercial, the quote unquote must be real firefighters, they were making a salad in the firehouse for the commercial. So apparently the only way you could do that in that commercial was to be a real firefighter. Absolute bullshit. So after that audition, I was like, this is horseshit. It's not like they're going to force us to go into a burning building or wear bunker gear. Like, must be real is bullshit. So that kind of started a trajectory change for me. And then, so later I was on another audition, and it was something like must be real search and rescue or something like that. And one of the stations I worked at and was assigned to as a firefighter, we did rescue stuff. And I was like, all right, this is legit. I'll go. Again, lo and behold, Steve was there. I was like, the small industry when as big as it is. Like, hey, what's up, Steve? I know you're not this. And he's like, absolutely not. But you must be real search and rescue. I think it said must be. I think it actually used the acronym SAR. I was like, oh, okay. Somebody, a consultant was in on this. But again, it wasn't a stunt job where they're like, where they wanted you to be familiar with harnesses and ropes and gears and rigging. Nope. Acting role, playing pretend, not curing cancer, not rescuing people from raging rivers. The role was a guy that went out to the tarmac and handed a girl a helmet. That was it. I find out during the audition. So I was like, all right, whatever. Do the audition. Steve does the audition. Steve gets the job. I confirm it later, X amount of time later, the commercial comes out, and lo and behold, he squats down. It's a cool little profile shot. He hands this little girl his pilot or his helicopter helmet, with the cool visors and all that, and he hands it to her, and there's some sweet lovey-dovey bullshit music and blah blah blah. So those are the must be real blanks. So ever since then, I don't know if this hurts me or not. It's not like I'm working or getting work. Ever since then, where they're like must be real whatever, I have a serious gut check. It's like, does it, if they say must be real doctor, they're not going to check your license. And for me, I have an extremely large amount of medical background, not just paramedic and EMS. Like anybody who knows what a Special Forces 18 Delta is, I can play doctor pretty damn good. I can say medical words. You know what? Because it's acting. So when it comes to like ones that must be real doctor, hey, even dentist, I have tons of dental training. So like I have a very uh, liberal approach to must be real whatever. If they say must be real little person, okay, I probably won't submit for that audition. But I pretty much, if it says must be real whatever, right off the bat, I don't want to work with these people because they've already pissed me off. And secondly, I'm like, well, I'll still submit. And knowing what I know now, go, you know, nobody's life is in the balance. I'm not hurting anybody. And you know what? It's called acting. It's not a stunt job. It's not recreating a real world event. It's playing pretend. So, yeah, that's a huge thing in the industry for those who don't know. This whole must be real. When I get really pissed off when it says must be real surgeon, must be real doctor. I'm like, there are so many starving freaking actors in LA, and you're gonna take a person that makes 6 figures plus and give them the job, and they get to play actor for a day. Cool, that's awesome. Keep taking work away from us because it's pretend. Oh my god. Anyway, I get a little hostile on this one. So it's hard to fathom how like some people can get away with such a brazen lie, but you know what? It's the entertainment industry. It's all about acting, pretend, deception. It's the name of the game. So the fact you're able to build a successful career on that, I can't necessarily fault it. I'm jealous as hell when it works. Don't get me wrong. It pisses me off and I get really jaded about it. But yeah, you know, so in conclusion, the lengths actors are going to go it's off the charts. And, you know, it's staggering, you know, from fabricating military credentials. That one pisses me off a little bit too, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. If they say must be real military, of course I'm going to submit. But 9.99910 times out of 10, you didn't have to be real military. So hire the best actor. If you have a hallway full of clones and you're like, they're all the best actor. Oh, but that Jeff Bosley was real military. Okay, let's pick him. He can bring something to it. He can, you know, maybe casually advise and give us some consulting advice. But at the end of the day, hire the best actor. That's it. So, but faking, but where I draw the line when it says, I don't know, I might be a hypocrite here, where there's no such thing as stolen valor to be pretending to be a doctor. Obviously, if you're out in the real world, pretending to be an MD and performing surgery, that's malpractice. That's not malpractice. That's assuming you have a license. That's just straight up against the law, for sure. But if you're walking around to get dates and saying you're a doctor, it's pretty skeezy. Don't get me wrong. But, and I ran into this when people were pretending to be special forces in LA, because there's not a lot of us to check them on. But when you're lying about being in the military, hi Betty, I will bury you. Like, there are some dudes. There's actually a guy in Venice Beach who pretended to be a Green Beret, and myself and Guardians of the Green Beret, an amazing organization, crushed him. We ease into it. We give him the chance to, you know, do the right thing. And then eventually we're just like, all right, we're just going to crush you, your sponsors, and everybody that's associated with you. So do not lie about being in the military. But again, that might be hypocritical. I do not know. That could be another video, to be determined, to be continued. So yeah, it is what it is. I hate that. No, actually, it's not. It isn't what it isn't. But it's clear the pressure to succeed and get the roles is actually, there are well-intentioned individuals, but it also can be a dangerous path, particularly in stunts. That's probably one I think that's a big no-go. But you know, what does this say about the industry as a whole? You know, is it a reflection of the industry? Is it a reflection of the actors, or is it a give and take of both? I find it absurd, since I've seen more than one example where must be real whatever was just ridiculous. Almost said the R word. Was just ridiculous. Homeboy did not need to be a real firefighter to be making a salad in a fire station. Homeboy did not need to be a real search and rescue guy to be sitting there and handing a helmet to this sweet little girl. It just asinine, just completely stupid. So what do you think? What do you think of these revelations now that you've heard them? I'm curious everyone else's thoughts because I definitely get horse blinders on these topics. So, do you think actors should be held accountable for faking their skills if, no harm, no foul? Or do you think the casting needs to lighten up and actually ask for the best actor? Actually ask for like if they want a guy that looks like a firefighter, a stereotypical firefighter, they are allowed. It's a superficial business. They are allowed to say we're looking for a 6.5 foot tall guy with muscles and tattoos and blue eyes, and it's superficial as hell. But they can ask for that. But do you think the line of saying "but also must be real firefighter" is bullshit, or is it legit? I argue it's legit as a bonus, but not as a prerequisite to get in the door. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please comment. Bare minimum, if you watched 5 seconds of this, click the thumbs up button. Just like it or even dislike it. I really want to see what we can do with this algorithm thing. And, maybe put some food on my table. Maybe buy Betty a ring. Maybe get out of debt. Who knows? Supposedly all these things are possible with people that have a lot more faith in this system than I do. So check out all my other videos. I'm really populating the Holly Weird playlist, and I really appreciate your time. Don't forget, series, one of them, all the above. Subscribe, like, comment, share, something, one of them. And yeah, thanks for watching.